keep shooting the proverbial.
Ooh,
Here we
yeah,
are.
Mike's going again. Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, he's moving around a bit, that's all.
Okay.
Oh. Or maybe not.
Whew.
We got an ah from Mike, and that's all we got. Oh no, he's
Graham's
muted
last
himself, that's
words.
why. It helps if I actually look to see what's happening. Okay, cool. So who have we got? Webby's going to be a bit late, and Navis sometimes is a bit late depending on traffic. So, yeah. We might just start at least getting into the summary of what we need to do. But first things first.
Let's buy this stuff.
Yeah. His shipment of contraband probably hasn't come in yet. Sorry, Jan, I talked over you.
Sorry, just remind me when you guys are switching time again.
Oh, good point, because
Ooh, yeah,
for
yeah.
reasons known only to politicians,
Insane
we're still
people.
on that nonsense. Here's a good question. Is it the end of the month?
It's the
Which would
preparations.
suggest it's probably
That's
going to be from Sunday the 29th of October that
Yes.
we roll... Is it roll back or roll forwards in October?
I think we go back because we lose it in summer, we gain it in winter.
So it's probably going to be
Especially-
the last Sunday of October is going to be the time when at least our, not the collective we, but those of us who live here in the UK get to have to change our clocks by an hour.
Extra hour of Matt's Sunday game.
An extra hour of wait for is it an extra hour of wait for Jan and Mike?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Because well, no, daylight savings does happen in America, doesn't it?
Yeah, we go back November 5th.
Right.
Yeah.
So you catch up the week after. It'd just be Jan that'll be left behind.
What the hell kind of crazy
no,
times
no,
are you guys adhering to?
It's the other way, isn't it? Isn't fallback, so it becomes.
Is it the
more
other way?
like-
That's a good point. Is it the other way?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's fallback, spring forward.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, if we go back an hour, then yeah, it would actually
Yeah,
be an
it
hour
becomes an
earlier
hour
for
earlier.
Jan.
Oh, there we are then. Woo!
So if in October we're going back, in November we're going forward, that means the next January there's going to be a time crash. Just in time for the end of this season, so you're going to literally bring the crew of the Navis into 21st century Earth.
Yeah, I said time crash is always the morning of the following of daylight savings. It's a happy accident day.
Yeah.
Increase of
Yeah.
I think it's 25% of national accidents happen usually around daylight savings, especially the one where we go out forwards.
People forget to reset their watches. Oh hell, I'm late. Yeah. Or they go to the office too early. Right. Okay, so we're 4 minutes in. I'm going to quickly throw us towards the intro video. And then we'll get on with things. So, we will see you in a couple of moments, folks. As long as I actually select the proper intro video, that is. Yeah, here we go. See you in a couple of seconds, guys. Hello, everybody, and welcome along to the further adventures of the crew of the USS Navis. I am, as always, MJ, the GM, otherwise known as Matt, and I will be your games master for this evening, or morning, or noon, or night, depending on where you are in the world. So, before we go any further, let's kick the ambience and the theme tune back into action. We have most of our intrepid crew along with us at the moment. We're expecting a couple of late arrivals, so we will get through one or two announcements and a summary before we kick things off in earnest. Hopefully our errant crew members will be with us by then. First things first, I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, and I'll keep doing it while it's running because it is a cause dear to my heart. Pelgrane Press are doing a bundle for their Gumshoe RPG, The Yellow King, which is in aid of Cancer Research UK. So it's still got some time left to it. It includes the Yellow King RPG core rulebook and a couple of extra books along with it, as well as some new Yellow King or the King in Yellow inspired fiction. So if you like that kind of stuff, like me, then feel free to go along and contribute to a worthy cause. In other RPG specific related news, however, the Great Monty Cook has decided to re-release a bit of a... Oh, here's one. One of the more interesting RPGs that they created over there in Monty Cook Studios. They're re-releasing Invisible Sun. Now, I didn't know about Invisible Sun until I saw the notice of the backer kit campaign recently, and of course I was intrigued, and so I've had a little look-see into what Invisible Sun was. The whole thing, the big black box, the way that it's an RPG that seems to draw no small amount of inspiration from board games of all things, and a game that creates a legacy. So it's intriguing. They haven't released any more details yet, but apparently they're going to be coming soon. And because we have done a game in the Sci-fi system before, thanks again to Jan for that. Yeah, Invisible Sun, looking very, very interesting. Wait to see what happens with that. I might get my hands on it at some point, who knows? However, in the meantime, who have we just had landed? It's Davis.
Hello.
Hey.
Sorry, mate.
That's quite alright.
Traffic.
I've already been given your stuff and your position.
Oh, thank you.
Claude
By the
enjoyed
way,
Invisible
there's a bunch of problems that have been piling up on my desk. So Mr. Edwards has a lot of complaints about, and you've got the Nova report. It's only one.
Sorry, Captain's orders. All existing paperwork needs to be cleared from your desk by as it's still under your purview before I start my fresh start.
No, I'm officially dead. You said so in your report.
No, I just said dibs on your stuff. I didn't say you're dead.
Well, in either case, our captain will be along in a couple of moments, we hope. So, while we've got most of our crew here, we're going to go through a quick summary of the mission that we have to us here. We have been, you have been sent to the Trax Epsilon system, where a Vulcan science outpost has gone quiet after sending a distress signal, a very short distress signal that seemed to indicate that there was a problem. And when you got there, you found a world completely eclipsed in darkness. So much so that everything that goes into the planet's atmosphere, you just lose contact with it. It seems to absorb all light and all sensor and communications. But, needless to say, that kind of thing doesn't stop the crew of the Navis from trying to get down to the problem. So, yes. Thank you, Gareth. Previously on Star Trek Navis, black. Yes. That's why the name of this episode is Darkness. But yes, an away team comprising of the 7 characters that we can see here gathered in the middle of the bridge. I've gone down to the Vulcan Science Outpost and found it abandoned, with nothing but a log remaining that could only be accessed once you manage to jury-rig a power source. Excuse me. Stupid nose. When you manage to jury-rig a power source to one of the computer panels in order to bring up the last logs. And it seems that something landed somewhere on the planet, which subsequently may or may not have had something to do with the wave of darkness that has now spread across the entire planet. So, yes, the away team took the Carpathia down to the surface. We have a few folks left on the ship, mostly the captain and the supporting cast. So, before we go back to the planet's surface, I believe there was call to try something to enable a brief communications window with the away team, maybe even enough of a window to send down supplies. So, Webby kicked off this discussion, and some folks had something to... Yes, Claude did just get called supporting cast, because that is what he appears to be.
You support because he's lifting up the entire universe.
Well, indeed, he's holding you all up. Would silver dyes help with this sort of dark issue? It's pitch black out there. And there's our first cross-franchise reference.
I mean, I was
Of the
building
evening.
up to the point of where we find a prisoner that's got a knack for escaping and really good eyesight in the dark, but I was going to leave that to the actual monsters cave.
Don't be ridiculous.
That's just silly as a concept. Sounds like something someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons lots would do.
See, I'm just
And
gonna
I
say,
went and mentioned the 5th edition system.
Chief Medical's Officer's log supplemental.
But
Commander
yes.
Fibers needs to be careful in the dark. He could be eaten by a group.
Yes, people
I
are
would
actually
like-
jump. Oh, sorry.
I'd like to point out that I've got one cyber eye already.
Yes. He's halfway there. He's also very good with blades, so yes, actually, come to think of it, he's already halfway there.
There'll be another accolade to add to his chronicles.
Yikes.
What we're missing is a holy man, then.
Yeah, I can't picture
But
any
yeah.
of you in that capacity. Anyway, moving in. So, there was discussion. Researching
Like
some
people-
kind of kinetic cutting beam to cut through the interference to open up a comms line. You then registered that maybe not magnetic, but some kind of electrostatic charge to try and displace some of the particulates in the atmosphere that would
Yeah.
allow you a brief comms window.
Yeah,
can certainly give it a try.
I think people are vaguely running with my idea because I couldn't know if it was metallic particulates or it was silicon. But either way,
Silicate.
silicate. That's it. And Davis sort of stepped in to make sense of my random ideas I sometimes throw out.
No,
Well, that's
your
fine.
idea made sense. You just needed slightly different technobabble.
Yes.
This is what happens when you have the privilege of playing or GMing such smart people. Because what I mean by that is usually, as Games Master, it falls on me to try and find the space magic means by which these things come to pass. So it's nice to have folks who can butt in and say, actually, I think you'll find things work this way. So
I
On
think
the topic of actually. Aye, Captain.
aha, yes. Okay, so what are we actually going to try in order to create this brief window down onto the planet, do we think? Naked
Nice,
kinetic force or some kind of polarized, some kind of electromagnetic beam? What
Well,
we're going to do?
Just to recap, is the actual atmosphere silicate, or is it high in nickel, cobalt, or iron?
The atmosphere you had a reading of now appears to be composed of a thick silicate gas.
Yeah, so silicates are not magnetic, so unless we induce a real high magnetic charge.
You don't need it to be magnetic. You just need a static charge.
Yeah,
You're not.
well,
So
you're
that's
still
enough.
you're still trying to, obviously, you're trying to make the atmosphere have a positive or negative charge, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, the silicate, wouldn't that be rubbing against each other a lot with
Which would
the
be
winds?
creating ions, so yeah. Yeah, high energy. energy ionic pulse.
Bounce
Okay.
gravity particle beam off the main deflector dish.
Exactly
yeah.
that. We'll put yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd
Gravity
put
particle beam.
Harnessing the
You've
power
got a
of the
PG rating.
harnessing the power of the deflector with Moneo, Hello, probably Claw, and then I'm
Okay.
just dictating at them all. This is how we're going to do it.
Okay. So Mono with his focus on, I don't know.
I probably say subspace mechanics because
Yeah.
it's similar kind of, or quantum. You know, if you're going into the quantum entanglement and the technically it's just advanced. Well, it's less advanced quantum mechanics.
So cool. We can get Mike to be his subordinate, his co-chief of co-head of science. Dr. Alex Mono. Sean, of course, can be Hello. How can Hello assist here? Well, computer control and power management would be a good one. Andrew's, of course, coordinating efforts. So who do we think should be the lead on this endeavor? Mono? Andrews?
Yeah, I'm happy to lead it per my determination.
Cool beans. And it's going to be Claude trying to fire it in such a way that it gets to where we think it needs to be with accuracy, yes?
Although if
Okay.
I spend a determination, then it means that we actually don't need Claw.
Alright then, so if we forget Claude, then it's going to be Andrews, Mono, and Hello. Okay. Andrews
Should I
giving
press the fire
orders. Andrews giving orders is, as has rightly been already noted, presence and command. If Lieutenant Mono is going to be doing anything, he's going to probably need reason and science. Hello is probably going to be doing the controlled modification of the main deflector, so let's say that's probably going to be control and engineering from Unit Hello. So, if the happy helpers could roll their 1 dice first, please. 1 success from Hello.
I don't know whether any of my foci would work on this. Probably not, unless it's Starfleet protocols, but then not really.
So, Mike, could you see if you can open Lieutenant Alex Mono's character sheet for us, please? And once you have, if we could have a single dice reason and science check with a focus, that would be smashing. Can you hear me, Mike? I know you.
I can. I'm looking for Mono here. Let's see.
He's right here on the bridge. I'm pinging him
Okay.
now.
Okay, so. Alright, cool. So, what do you want me to roll again?
Should be reason and science, please.
2. 1 die.
Yes, please. Not bad at all. 2 9s in a row, both successes. Ruby. Let's get the captain to do her roll then, please. That's 6 and 7. Really good rolls here today. Good lordy. Okay,
We don't
4,
get
5, 6
determination.
successes. That was a really good one. So roll the dice to see if you get your determination back.
To be fair, they have light up there so they can see what they're doing.
Yes,
I'm talking about another ship that shall not be named.
Alright then, so that was successful. So you reckon you've got enough to create a tight beam that could potentially hold off the silicon particulates long
Yeah,
enough to get a
initially
communication beam down.
Yeah, it will be for comms, and then if required, we'll try and broaden it to allow transporters. But for now, yeah, just solely focusing on comms.
Okay, so what kind of what do you want to send down as a comms?
Basically, just trying to establish a communication line to say to them if there's anything that's out to get a brief situation report, and if they need
Okay.
anything.
It's going to make someone jump out of their skin. They've been in the dark hearing something come towards them. They'll have this all of a sudden, the comm badge burst into life after nothing but static.
Well, least we didn't just listen to an apocalypse log that ended with alien screams and muffled sounds.
Oh,
wait.
That would get us on the edge, wouldn't it?
About that. By the way, I've got this log record for you, Doctor. It looks like your combat chat hasn't been answering. Have a listen to this.
I'm currently busy examining the plants here.
Yes, you are, and we'll get to that as soon as we get to that. So, just to recap, the actually, hang on a second, Mike, your microphone is popping a lot.
Sorry.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just using my phone, so.
Oh,
I'm
I
muted.
see. Thank you. Okay then. So, we got a successful test. So, the away team. Let's go and find you, and let's change the atmosphere a bit. As we go down onto the planet.
We're all going to die down here.
Well, you are.
I
So,
thought it was we all float down here.
Wanna buy a balloon?
George.
Thought doesn't float.
No, Claude sinks very, very definitely.
Well, this is one of the things that I was thinking of. Is worst case scenario, we just drop an escape pod with Claude in it and a load of Type 3 phasers, because Claude will survive and just step out the escape. It's like ODST, the orbital drop shock trooper.
Just
Just
walk
steps
out.
out. You want a flare? Here's Claude with 2 phaser rifles.
Just walks out like a space marine. Just.
Like a space marine, I think you'll find that space marines were
Those
based
Marines
upon
walk out
Claude.
like Claude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we don't have any Marines on board, and Claude is our lead tactical officer, doesn't that make him a space marine?
He totally
Well.
is a space marine.
Now
He's a
then,
space Claude.
Space Claude. Is there?
Where's
now
Claude?
there are
Is it-
derivations of Claude. Yeah.
Is a space marine as per, who was it, Arthur C. Clarke? I can't remember who coined the term space marine. Not
You're
that
right.
other franchise.
Not the franchise that shall currently not be named. Excuse me. Live long and prosper to you as well, suitable substrate. Excuse me while my face explodes at regular intervals. Nevertheless, we are down on the planet, and Nova, with some help, I believe, unlocked the log from the Vulcan science team with some judicious use of her engineering capabilities. And yes, you did get a log from one of the Vulcans reporting that there was some kind of impact on the planet's surface. Everything started to get progressively more dark, and after that, and what else was there? They sent a team to try and investigate the impact site. They didn't return, and then the 2 remaining science outpost crew members abandoned the station.
Well, they didn't really abandon it; they got eaten.
But as they were about to abandon it, yes,
We
they
haven't
got
found
attacked, it
bodies
seems.
yet.
Excuse me for sniffing, I am sorry. But in the meantime, there was a Dr. Bertram who was busily investigating the Arboretum.
Just on that, do we know which room they were in when they were recording that? Because then, in theory, we could scan for bio signs. to confirm.
Yeah, I'll get to that in just a sec, because I promised Gareth that I would not forget that he posted a question, and I would report back to him what the answer to that question was. So Bertram was scanning the plants to get an idea of whether or not and how long they'd been affected by this pale of darkness, yes?
Yep.
So
Also,
what...
if there are any
Go on,
other environmental issues that they may have, there may be clues to the way they kind of bring in air or nutrients from the soil that may have been affected, as opposed to just darkness. That basically, I'm looking at it holistically.
Yeah.
Which is my excuse for looking at plants.
That's fine, but one thing that is apparent from the very beginning: this is a contained environment. So the Vulcans simulated the outside conditions to a degree, you think, but the fact that the power is off means that the fake sunlight that they've been creating in order to make the plants grow has not been supplied to the plants for some time. That time you estimate to be around about 3 days. So they've started to show signs of withering from lack of sunlight. Not much, but enough for you to be able to expertly judge 3-ish days, which does corroborate the log that posited that the blanket of darkness that covered the planet happened about 3 days after the initial impact of the whatever it was that impacted the planet. I'm picking up traces of human DNA. I think Mr. Edwards is a spy. Yeah. So, in the meantime, you have had this, and all of a sudden you get communication from the Navis. So, basically, you've got a very limited window to communicate with the Navis. What would you like to send for, ask for?
I definitely think Andrew's going to be on the channel like, "Sup, bitches?"
Let's say probably be some sort of mobile generator or something they can use to power up the facility.
What do the guys think?
Is that wise?
Do we want to actually, well, we got this communication line, actually send them the logs that we found so that they can hear them and analyse them?
It's a good possibility. It does bear mentioning, since the power question came up, that whilst they were, and I use the term loosely, whilst Nova and Vibers were examining the generator, which is on the outside of the outpost, by examining we mean Nova was pulling it apart, but a breach in the casing...
taking notes.
You were taking notes. A breach in the casing was found by Nova first and then Vibers, which suggests that something punctured the outer layer of the generator, which is made to be able to withstand harsh environments. And then something had a go at the power cables.
I'm just wondering if whatever did that, and seeing as all the batteries or power cells in there seem to be drained, will whatever is doing it go after the runabout?
That's a
I
good
mean, I was
question.
expecting that, because my next idea was going to be use the runabout to sort of jumpstart things to try and give us an idea of what we can use here and what we can see.
I was thinking use the runabout as bait.
Then we could be trapped.
We need to be quite careful with what we use for power sources, looking at how something has eaten everything for battery.
I will say that
probably
you've... Sorry to interrupt, Alex, but you do have a limited window of opportunity to communicate with the Navis, so a decision does need to be made quickly.
Let's send up all the logs we've got. A secondary generator does make sense to send down. We can decide if we use it later.
Do you need a replacement phaser?
That's a good point. Who sacrificed their phaser?
A replacement phaser would be nice. And if they can do anything to shed some light on the situation from orbit, it would be greatly appreciated.
The likelihood of that is a bit narrow. They will have a very confined window which they've used to open communications with yourselves in order to do anything with. So, go on.
There's a ship full of brains.
Sorry, I think they should send a sonic weapon, because if these things drain power, we have no guarantee that phasers will work.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a good call too. Let's get one of them sent down if it can be.
Alright, so if folks want to, in that case, choose maybe one person to receive the sonic weapon. Has anybody got the sound gun in their inventory already?
I don't think I do. I'd probably, though, I was advise Caval, because he's the most security-minded, I do believe.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Cal suggested it.
Because Caval's the only one with security training in that group.
I think Edwards has had security training. He Gaval's better.
Do you
I
want
had
the?
fun.
Sorry, go on.
You gave me it with the promotion ceremony.
Did you want
Here's how you hold a
the
phaser.
January? Did you want the generator? Two entirely different things, man. Did you want the generator beamed indoors or beamed to outdoors?
I think maybe indoors, but I have the right to be wrong in this case.
Alrighty, they'll beam it to indoors. then.
Indoors is probably the best bet, because then we could seal it in if need be.
Okay, so. You get a generator. Just needs hooking up, which should be easy. Meanwhile, somebody asked me about life signs. Where were they? Where were the Vulcan crew last before? Potentially before they made screaming noises. It suggests somewhere around here. So the EV suit locker was over here. It's open, and EV suits are missing. Taken at quite some haste. The sounds, the distance travelled, suggests that the Vulcans made it to about here before something happened. The fact that you don't see any bodies or EV suits in here suggests something I'm sure that's probably occurred to you. So what would you like to do now that you have this information?
Well, there's still...
no, somebody closed the door on Nova, she had to stop. running. Oh, door! Open door. Running. Anyway.
We don't know for definite that the other two scientists are dead.
Nope, you don't.
We don't know what was happening on this planet
You don't.
for that to be happening, so it's a case of, do we want to continue investigating, or do we want to get the hell out of here and go, they're dead? It's not worth the risk.
There was mention of an impact crater, which was where the whole strangeness started. That was in the log.
Yeah.
As an additional option, should you wish to go for it. So, get out of here, find the ore, and/or find the missing scientists, and/or maybe see what's at the impact crater, or anything else you can think of. You're hooking up the generator. Do you want to kick the generator into action now to put light on the inside of the science outpost?
Probably, I was thinking maybe more. Have we ascertained that it's a light that attracts them?
No.
Yes, or is this still us being meta? Okay. In that case, then yes. Any
objections?
Would be like the inside and out. And this.
Before we do, Lieutenant, Doctor, how much time do you need on those plants?
I think
Does
I've
it-
learned just about anything I'm gonna get.
Somebody better notice what Nova's doing, because she's about to take away your only power source. Well, not your only one.
Please stop taking
No,
that part.
could you dismantle something else, please?
You might want to be a bit more literal. Because I know how Sean's brain works. Or at least I have an idea how Sean's brain works. Right. Final
I
answer,
can
yes or
always do
no?
that.
Turn the lights on.
Yes.
Okay, seal the doors. Caval and Stevens. Stevens, you're not security trained, are you?
Base
Stevens is
level
not
at the
security
moment.
trained, not really, no.
I
Right.
can hold a phaser.
Mybus, is there anything you need me to do in particular right now?
I'd like us to at least seal the entrances to this place so that if this does attract it, we've got a bit of time
Okay.
before we have to leg it.
I'm going to take the readings I got from the flora that's native to this world, and I'm going to see if I can use that data to get my tricorder to start scanning for anything that's deemed unlikely to be sort of native to this world, just in case
Alright.
it gives us a bit of extra warning. I'll let
Okay.
Vibers know I'm doing that as well.
Yeah.
You doing this indoors or outdoors?
I'll be doing this indoors unless I'm told that we need to move.
Okay. Caval, from your vantage point, the only security risk you can see at the moment is the fact that the door leading into this place has been... It was basically ripped out. It was bent out of shape. Something ripped its way inside, so... that's the biggest security risk you can spot.
So stealing it is not really an option. I'm not sure how big the anti-grav sled is. Maybe I can just sort of turn it on its head.
There we are. The anti-grav sled returned useful after all. If only as a makeshift stepping stone to get through.
Alright, Stevens, the moment that Nova and Edwards get that generator hooked up, we're going to have a limited amount of time to get as much data out of these systems as we can. So you might want to get yourselves ready.
Alright then, turning the lights on. As soon as the power is actually connected up and the generator kicked into action, there's a whoo sound as the lights come back on. Chonk, 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 chonk.
Can't live again.
Yeah, as per the commander's order, as soon as the computer in front of Stevens comes online, she'll start basically just downloading all of the logs, running through all of the actual telemetry data that they gathered, see if there's anything from where the asteroid came down, because obviously that's where the second group went towards, wasn't it?
Yes, it seems so. So, let me see. Investigating the planet. Yes, yes. So you've got power back up. Give me just 1 second. Yes?
Found where they're sleeping at least. What if their personal effects have anything that might be able to give us an idea?
They're Vulcan, probably not.
Right, so, information. So you've got power back online, which is good. You've acquired a new power supply, you put power back online, now you need to recover the computer systems. So anybody who wants to give this a go, anybody who's got the relevant computer-related talents, or focuses rather I should say, can give me a reason and engineering task with a difficulty of 2.
Give it a go. Be more of Mr. Vibers, I'd imagine.
Actually, it's very much Vibers and Ori who have both got foci in
Cool. Alright,
computers,
Stevens on
so-
that one then. Vibers is currently keeping an eye out for trouble.
So Mike,
Playing
feel
hide and
free
seek
to...
with Nova.
What's that, sorry?
Hide and seek with Nova.
Hide and seek.
Please make sure Nova doesn't bring anything important. So anything we need to get out of here.
Alright, is rolling 2 dice, gets 1 success, so anybody else who wants to assist, now would be the time. Because you need to make up...
Engineering.
Anybody with engineering, preferably with computers, since they're reactivating the computers?
Electroplasma systems.
This is computers. You're recovering the computer system.
Yeah, we're just trying to speed them up so they boot up quicker.
I would say anybody with computers as a focus, which means Vibers. Who else?
I mean,
Stevens can try, reason and engineering. Yep.
that's the only focus I could say would be the more the transference of data to the ship using communications, but the actual booting, I'm just a normal roll.
Okay, but as it turned out,
Just apparently distracted.
but it seems that you weren't that distracted because you did
just
actually.
watch Nova just go past the screen because I'm zoomed in.
Alright, do you want to roll your 3rd dice that was supposed to be in your list?
All right then,
You're wrong.
you have managed to recover the computer systems. You can now have a look at the research logs of the expedition group.
Commander? Is it worth?
Actually, no, you've got that already.
No, something to do. She seems very distracted. Perhaps if she can try and create a continual convoy buoy. There.
Oh.
Nova,
From the.
Nova, I've got a job for you
I got some
that
shiny
you
plastic.
actually find interesting. Nova?
What is it?
Right. I need a way to get the away team to that crater safely and alive. You've got everything in this facility at your disposal to throw something together. Just
the
don't
generator.
break the
Except
computer
the
system
generator,
or the
Commander.
generator.
It parked outside.
You
How would
can
you-
use the generator outside.
No, it's parked outside.
But we
Yes,
can't
if
use.
you
We
want-
can't reliably trust the sensors.
Yeah, so you need to find a way to get us over there safely when we can't see.
Bertram, I am going to assume that if you want to keep an eye on things that maybe are not native to this planet, that you might want to adopt a station somewhere to have a look at sensor readings.
Yep. That's it. Actually, find my way to the main room.
Yep.
I take it.
There you are. There's the door.
There we go. I can see. Will this station do?
Yes. Can you give me a control and science? Although you can probably use I'm a doctor, not a to make it to control and medicine. So
No, I'm a doctor thing works specifically for the command discipline.
right. Gotcha. In that case, science then, please.
So all the science, can I use biology as a focus? Given it's biological based, I'm basing the data.
Go on then. Yeah.
Okay. And I am going to, given the biology's the foundation is, can I use
Yep.
my biological researcher's foundation value?
Okay, if you want to.
Okay. Woo.
Good lord.
6 successes.
6 successes, which means that, yes, recalibrating sensors as you have, you detect definitely something that is not of this world, but at first instance, what you get is a whole heap of sensor data that suggests the entire atmosphere, most of the atmosphere at this present moment in time is not native to this planet.
Okie dokie.
But you get a somewhat more localized bit of data with that many successes, where there is evidence of Vulcan DNA very close by. If you had to try and locate it, it would be where I'm pinging.
Floor.
I'm going to say, Commander, in true Star Trek fashion, I can say, Commander Vipers, I think in true Star Trek fashion, Bertram goes, Commander Vipers, I think you should take a look at this.
I'm
I've-
an engineer.
The sensors I've recalibrated are detecting Vulcan DNA.
Where?
That's right outside the compound.
Pretty much right outside the combat to the map. Is this map with north to the top, or
Yeah.
before I say?
If you say north, we mean north of the map. That's fine.
Okay.
This is
So
update.
basically, almost directly outside the building to the northwest. I'm gonna pull up the thing on the screen so that Vipers can see basically by there.
Just to clarify, is it a life sign or did you say it's just DNA?
DNA. I didn't say life sign.
Well,
Yep,
potential
DNA.
incoming.
Only if you're very lucky.
I think Val might be closest if we want to go through that way, or are we gonna risk it going out here, Commander?
Val?
Okay.
I think I should be able to get to it.
Right,
out of
could
interest,
you-
Where's Lieutenant
Permission
Nick?
to tag along.
Sir?
Edward, stick with Cavall. Need to keep in twos. Stevens, can you stick with the Doctor? I'm going to go on a Nova hunt.
Well, if you follow the wall of the outside of the hub, it should literally be as it turns a corner.
Alright, let's go have a look.
Okay, so the outside is just as inhospitable as you remember, but rather than narrow your light sources, I'll keep them as they are.
Oh, sorry.
Just as they were about to get
the body.
The camera is snatched away. Right. All right. Stumbling across the ground, the arid ground, your EV suit's barely illuminating much in front of you. You find a body.
Dr. Bertram. Normal circumstances, I wouldn't think of this, but given how we are potentially in dangerous territory, we have found a body. Would it be acceptable to bring it in, or do you want to come out and look while we cover you?
I'd say we're not in a quarantine area. We have been outside. If there's some sort of hazard would be exposed to in vicinity, we've probably already been exposed to it. I'd say take preliminary scans to sort of make.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you bringing the body in or leaving them out?
That was the main question. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Scan the area using. I mean, it's not a medical tricorder, but the best you can. And then Edwards would offer to lift the body while Cavall covers, as he's got the stun weapon.
The body is not a pretty sight. So the moment you lean over to get towards the head end, basically, you notice the Vulcan inside the suit. They have died with their face pulled into what looks like a scream.
Sanity check.
Pretty much.
Are there signs of trauma or
Definitely.
damage to the suit?
The suit's visors have basically been cracked open, and there's also damage to the EV suits themselves, particularly the power pack on the back.
This definitely seems to have been an attack of some kind. Once again, the power source was targeted.
I think we need to be quick then. Is the body? I mean, it's messy, but is it at least in? Is it in one?
Yes,
piece,
the body is
or
in
is
one
it-
piece. It's contained within the EV suit.
Okay, yeah. So try to carefully as you can, Edwards will try to lift the suit and basically bring the body back in for Bertram to examine.
Okay,
while
I will do
Cavall covers him.
that. I will move the body in, and I will bring you guys in too, so you can. May as well stop. I'll get you past walls.
Commander Vipers, do you want to take over while I examine the body, do you want to take over the sensor sweep in case it detects anything?
Yes, let's see what we can get out of that.
Nova, quickly. Whilst Nova's outside, as she's just busily, well, not busily, just kind of. She looks like she's astride the top of the runabout, just kind of quietly sitting there, knocking her heels together. There's
reinventing sonar because apparently everyone else forgot what that is.
when I hear that, I imagine Nova going. Pew, 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 pew.
Well, the thing is that sonar isn't actually. They don't use it that much in Star Trek, so yeah, it's I think it probably has been forgotten because it's technically obsolete tech.
We could have got an answer, but this just keeps Nova occupied and stops disassembling phasers and generators.
Almost like a rumble of thunder.
Disassembling the runabout instead.
That's what I'm thinking. Batfink supersonic sonar radar.
Well, indeed. Nova. As Nova's just sitting there on the top of the runabout, considering which bit to pull apart, almost like a rumble of thunder travels from one area and just rumbles over you and disappears off into the distance. A sudden wave of singular emotion just rolls over from the distance. Difficult to tell which direction from, but it just kind of travels and hits like a wave. One of curiosity, and then it's gone. That's all it was. Just one big, almost like one big, huh? And that was it. Gone. Meanwhile, Bertram, having a look. So, yes. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Insight and medicine with a difficulty of 2, please.
He's dead, Jim.
Very much.
Edwards is willing to assist, though Bertram will remember he wasn't the best medical assistant when he was on rotation.
Well, he's dead, so you can't do much more to him than that, so...
Yes. Try not to butcher the body, 00 Andrews.
Was it reason plus medicine?
Yes, please.
Is it reason or insight?
Captain on the bridge is like, my medicine's not that bad. Why do I suddenly feel this way?
1 success from
Ooh.
Edwards. Nice.
Bang on.
Well, hello there.
Oh,
1 Mississippi.
Starcross,
2 Mississippi.
Starcross.
Mississippi. Well, okay. If that's the case, then dang it.
I was going to say, I actually showed him up. That would be brilliant.
Wait a
I'm
minute.
not going to let that happen.
Yeah, Bertram never makes mistakes.
Oh, look at that.
Edward-
Starcross has
Ed-
got nothing to do with ignoring a consequence. Okay,
No,
so let's
it's
see.
Legion
Or
of
was
Honor.
it Legion of Honor?
Honor.
See, I was literally open up Legion of Honor and you said Starcross, and okay, he must be that
Because
one.
I never have a complication, so I never roll it.
Oh, I say!
Hard.
Shots
Anyway,
fired!
Yeah, Bertram doesn't have a complication. It's Edwards actually, Bertram is just shocked that Edwards performed. That's what it is.
He dropped the
So
tricord, so that'll stick. That was what
So
it
what you're
was.
saying is Bertram doesn't have a complication, he has Edwards.
Yes. Bertram doesn't make mistakes, he just has
So,
Edwards.
I'm using the
dear.
medical tricorder to go, that's odd, call him this, he's human.
There are now T-shirts I'm going to have to get you guys with your catchphrases on, and that's going to have to be one of them now. Jeez.
We
I
don't
crewed a
talk
ship of-
about the port the cell.
I crewed a starship full of changes, all I got was this lousy human.
Right, so with that many successes, you got 2 successes overall, which is exactly what you needed, and you... I wasn't a you-know-what, and didn't find the complication before you found your Legion of Honor, or whatever it was. So, yeah. The bodies are frozen inside of their non-functioning EV suits. For all the horror painted on or rather etched, I should say, into the face of the Vulcan, there's little in the way of trauma to the body other than the most obvious cause of death, which was suffocation. They got the body, the Vulcan, got exposed to the atmosphere by the fact that the EV suit was cracked open and they suffocated.
There's a part of me that wants to be really childish and hold him up and just go, most illogical.
So they died of asphyxiation. There is evidence of blunt force trauma to the EV suit, and some of that has resulted in bruising on the body underneath. But the majority, the blunt force trauma is minor compared to the asphyxiation. The suits have been breached in a number of places, which expose the key power points, the cabling, and the battery systems.
That was going to be my next question. Is the blunt force trauma to roughly where the power pack would be, or wherever the energy center would be on these suits?
Indeed. So,
Oh,
go on.
The areas where the suits were breached, can I scan them to see if I can work out what it was? Like, was it something using a rock or something like that, or was it something directly kind of ripping and tearing at it? If it's the latter, I might be able to pick up minor biological remnants. If something, say for example, literally clawed the fin open.
You can certainly try. I just realised that once again my momentum and threat indicators are not rendered, so I'm going to have to reload just to see where I am with correct, where you are with momentum. You should have 6 momentum because you earned a bucket load of it earlier on.
Yeah. So I'm putting my cursor over the ancient effect so that it's now treat.
Come on, go up, go up, go up. Never mind, it's ignoring me. Okay.
Matt will give them out to us. Here, have another treat. Have another treat. We'll be like, no, Matt, no more treats.
Alright, anything interesting over there? Not at the moment. So, with everything that you've got so far, you can now try and work out what it is that might very well be going on. So, I'm giving you guys an extended task to complete, which I closed accidentally, which is basically collating stuff. It's going to be... the lead discipline is more than likely going to be science, so everybody with a good science rating should be put forward to assist with this. It's more than likely going to be reason and science. The initial difficulty is going to be all the way at 4.
Oh, it's one of those ones, so it's not an extended task.
So it's an extended task.
Oh, it is extended.
It is an extended task, and like most extended tasks, it will have a set difficulty to start with. The more breakthroughs you get, the more information you will start piecing together, and the difficulty will go down as you make breakthroughs. So,
cool. So Nick of Time would work.
I do love it how
intense
Matt
scrutiny.
Said, I do love it at the start is that Matt said it's an extended task, and then Alex goes, "Is it an extended task?" Oh no, it's not an extended task. Oh, it is an extended task.
No, I thought
it's
I
easy
misheard
to
him.
miss. It's because you heard difficulty, you forgot that extended tasks had difficulty. That's what knocked it out of your brain. It's fine.
Don't help him, Matt.
Nova has got Science 4. She would be pretty useful in this situation if you want to put your heads together. So give her a reason to come back in and.
Out of the group, I think Stevens is actually the worst at science, so she's only science 3. So yeah, she's happy to sit out.
Science 2 for Vibers.
Is this to correlate, did you say, the information into, was it a working hypothesis?
Pretty much.
Okay, so... Wondering who would be the one with the focus then, while we all assist.
Probably Ori, because he's the science lead.
Yep, Ori would probably be a good...
Although I can't access Ori, because, you know, he's actually a chain. He's the one. He's the human. Makes sense.
The one you least expect.
Feel free to access him.
Well, I was saying is for Mike to roll, not you.
No, I can't see his sheet. So
I think.
Oh, that's why you're doing it like when it used to be with me. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think the one most likely to be the human infiltrator is the one who's the supporting character as opposed to the rest of us discipline having main characters. Is that right, Lieutenant Stevens?
I will say that
specifically by the captain.
Lieutenant Ori would make sense to be the lead on this, both as chief of science, but also as a result of one or more focuses that he has that are pertinent to this. But in order to not spoil the surprise, I won't say which. So we've got one roll from Edwards.
Mike, it might be QM.
So is Bertram assisting as well? Because I noticed you put intense scrutiny in there. So this is going to be reason and science for you too. Ooh, that was close.
Yeah.
But 3 successes from Ori. Nice. So that was very successful. You got 4 successes you need, which means, Mike, if you could use the Perform Challenge button on Ori's character sheet to roll me 7d6. Roll 7 dice for me, please. Awesome. 6 successes and 2 effects, which means that that means Edwards' Nick of Time can come into effect. So you got 4. You got 6 overall, which means you got a breakthrough.
Yeah, effects count for 2.
So effects count for 2, which means you got 2 breakthroughs. Yeesh.
Yeah, but 2 resistance for every effect roll, yeah.
Or 2 resistance for every effect roll. That's a good point. There is resistance.
Oh, sorry, then, so it's not... I got my wording wrong. So basically 4 resistance is it ignored then?
4 resistance has been ignored, okay. Which means we go on the naked number of successes, which means we get 1 breakthrough. Awesome. The atmospheric composition is dominated by a silicate gas, but a very rare silicate gas. It's never been recorded naturally. And according to what you can glean from the sensors, it definitely wasn't present on the planet during initial scans of the planet. The first word that comes into your mind, Lieutenant Ori, when you see this kind of data coming back at you, the first word you can think of is terraforming. So, let's go for round 2 of this, shall we? The same group can try it again? What was that, sorry?
I'll look at the crew and go, possible terraforming.
Okay. The difficulty has now been reduced down to 3 since thanks to your breakthrough. So if you guys want to try the same things again, but if anybody thinks they've now got any focuses related to the subject of terraforming that they think could help, or anything of that regard...
Cheeks, it's always biology.
Okay, yeah, in its own way, biology could be a help here, yes.
Part of me is like, no, metallurgy wouldn't help. Ancient technology, I'm thinking maybe for terraforming equipment, but that's too vague at this point, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm afraid
a bit
not.
More of a hint.
Yeah.
So just one.
Once again, Edward's doing very well, and Bertram doing very, very well indeed.
Means I can finally activate my intense scrutiny.
All right then. Intense
so,
scrutiny.
You can ignore 2 resistance for every effect rolled.
Nice, which means
only
that...
if I complete a task.
That's fine, and that means that as a result, I just got stream bombed then by a girl in a gas mask.
Okay.
A World War II school project. So there you go.
You have a question, Matt?
I'm back.
So, Ori, feel free to... So yeah, Mike, give us another roll from Ori in the lead, please.
It was also if we can use insight and science.
Yes. So, Mike, if you could go for this the same one you got before. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. 5 successes. You only needed 3, so that goes definitely another breakthrough. You ignore 2 resistance, which means you get the full complement. Actually, no, you haven't rolled the thingy yet, have you? That's me counting successes, not the other one. Not the dice roll. So, pardon me, Mike. Same again. 7 dice, if you could, please. Oof. Can Ori use insight and science? Absolutely, yes.
3 effects. So 6
3
resistance
effects.
ignored.
Yay.
So what we can do is we can have one of those effects go to ignoring the 2 resistance. The other 2 can be what was Edwards' could do? Nick of time.
You
Could
score 1
Ori
additional
do anything
work
to do with these things? No.
You score 1 additional work for every effect rolled.
1 additional work for every effect roll, so you get even more successes as a result. Okay, cool. So we actually get 7. Nice. Definitely another breakthrough. Which means the difficulty does go down. Nice, nice, nice. Very good, very good, very good. So this time, there is a link between the geomagnetic anomalies and the darkness of the silicon substance in the atmosphere, you reckon? It seems that the silicate is acting as a kind of catalyst for the fluctuations in the magnetic field, though it's unclear why the fluctuations are occurring. But you also get a reading that shows that the silicate gas is concentrated at several sites around the planet. So, next lot of science, for lack of a better... Next lot of science, please.
Science!
There is so much science going on here. There's an awesome amount of science going on here, in fact. So once again, the terraforming idea still applies. There's now link with... Ooh, hello.
Oh,
Right, so if somebody's not going to jump in with something...
I wanted to use mine, I'm afraid.
Or to use yours, yep, okay, so there's going to be a complication.
Well, alright. Potentially, hasn't he? I mean, he has put the tune on it.
So, yeah, Mike, you've got the option if you really, really want to spend a point of determination to re-roll that 20. What would you like to do? Sure thing, okay, no problem whatsoever. One of his values, let's see, nothing is beyond repair would be a good one, so use that. So where it says re-roll results on Ori's results, click the re-roll results button, but only choose one dice, and we'll assume that it's the 20 we are re-rolling. If you're not sure what I'm referring to, then speak now, and I can give you better directions.
I'm not sure.
Okay, cool. So you see in the chat log on Foundry where your results are, where you rolled a 20 and a 4. There's a yellow button that says re-roll results. When you click that, it'll bring another little pop-up window. You can tag using focus and bring the number of dice down to 1 because you're only rolling the 1 dice. There we are. So we re-rolled the 20 and got 4. So we got even more successes as a result. Wicked. So that third set was even more better results. So once again, Mike, 7 dice, please. See how many effects we get. We get 2 effects, so one of them can be, what was it, incisive scrutiny? Intensive scrutiny?
Yep.
And the other one can be nick of time. So we've actually got, good grief, 10! Which means you have 2 breakthroughs all at once. Which means you succeed. You succeed ahead of time. Nice. So you completed that. Alright. At the quantum level, the silicate gas is absorbing the visible light spectrum and is affecting subspace communications down to the planet in the same way. So, quantum-related focuses as a result were helpful there. Using all of this data, you're able to map the shifting magnetic poles and electrostatic energy in the atmosphere to a degree that the sensors and the communication system can now be calibrated to compensate for them. So you have now created an advantage called geomagnetic mapping, which I will put down here now to remind us that we've got it. Well done. I actually have to type this geomagnetic mapping. So that will... that means that now the difficulty for sensor tasks to overcome the darkness or the geomagnetic anomalies that are present on the planet are now cancelled out. Science, baby. Nicely done. Okay, cool.
Like Romulans didn't manage this, I bet.
So, you now have data. You now have data at your fingertips. What would you like to do with said data? If you need a bit of help, Sorry, what was that?
Interpret the data?
What do you think?
It's too bad we don't have that window anymore, or else we could send it to the Navis and they could calibrate ship-wide sensors to actually do a better job as scans.
Well, you do have... the silicate gas. You now know that the silicate gas is emanating from a few key points on the planet's surface. These points seem to correspond with impact craters that were noted in the previous logs. One impact crater is bigger than the others, and therefore is giving off more emissions as a result. The biggest impact crater is a couple of kilometers north of your current position. So, with this information, what would you like to do?
With what you've worked out, could we hook that into both the base sensors and the runabouts, so we can get a scan of the area before we set off, and possibly not hit something when we try and get over there?
Yeah, with what you've discovered, your ability to navigate the planet will be much, much improved. So yes, the likelihood of you actually hitting mountains and the like is now vastly reduced. So modifying the runabout will be no problem whatsoever. In fact, you might want to use this opportunity to tell Nova to do this, whilst she's busy pulling apart the runabout's sensor systems. So she can probably use her talent to recalibrate it to use what you've learned. I would suggest. Of course, you could always leave Nova up to her own devices and see what horror she wreaks upon the runabout.
Stephen, Kapow, do you want to let Nova in on the secret?
Sure thing, Commander.
You do have comms. The comms are less spotty when you are closer, proximity-wise. So just being somewhere outside would allow you to communicate this concept to Nova in whatever manner you wish.
Is there anything else you need here before we try and investigate that source location?
No. Alrighty.
Alright, is there anything else you need from here before we move on?
Relays information to Nova, thank you.
I think I'm good.
Okay. Sean, is Nova in a cooperating mood for altering the Carpathia's sensors to now overcome the interference?
I think she'd probably be now more interested in the curiosity feeling, because she'll just feel like she's wasted all that time trying to reinvent sonar when they've already just solved the problem.
I wouldn't call it wasted. It was a
Well,
worthwhile
give it-
experiment.
Half a job
Nope.
dismantling the ship.
We've now got to do the rest of the job to finish this, and so now just so we've got a working.
We had a runabout once. Now we have
So-
a paperweight / lawn ornament.
It won't take long.
Commander Faznan, there's a scratch on the faith, yeah.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't even thought the implications of... about that.
Must have been the silicate.
Yes.
It looks like a hyper spanner, sir.
Can I get Nova to give me the usual insight and command check for her empathic projection, please? Very good, one success. Okay. Nova just kind of sitting there, thinking of, wait a minute, empathic sonar! And she just sits there, just giving out whatever means she would of trying to project her own empathic signal out. So, Sean, what's your best idea of what she would project outwards?
It's going to be hello.
Yeah, just
What?
heard hello over and over.
You can't exactly go. Well, you can and you can't go hello. But if you're projecting an emotion, attaching it to a hello.
Yeah, but it probably would be just curiosity right back at it.
Okay, cool. So Nova does that, kind of like a hello. Probably even in that sing-song way as well, knowing you. But yeah. There's a brush with some kind of consciousness It's a consciousness the likes of which Nova isn't familiar with, which is why it was a case of, hang on, what was that? When like the empathic echo goes off to see how far she can reach, and she does reach something. There is a consciousness here, but it's weird. It's like one big consciousness, but spread out over a large area. And Nova's not sure if the hello message got there, and if it did, whether or not it was understood. So it's weird. It's like, huh. And as far as a location for where that is, again, you're not sure. It's so spread out. It's hard to localize.
Poor Aurai's just standing there going, hearing in his head going, hello.
Hello.
But, yes.
It's me you're looking for.
Luckily, it seems Nova didn't get too far with her dismantling of the Carpathia, so putting it back together is no problem.
How long's
Just the
Lieutenant
voices
Aurai been
again.
with the crew of the Navis, and he's already like, it's just the voices, just ignore them. It'll stop eventually. It's okay. Just keep taking the meds, Aurai. Keep taking the meds.
One of us. Okay, so now there looks like there's going to be an expedition towards somewhere interesting. So, you all, I take it you're all going.
And let's get back to the runabout.
So, Sean, you're literally off the map. You're off the map here, mate.
Freedom.
I can no
Hear
longer
me,
be
monsters.
constrained. Right.
Buddy.
Oh, look, another body.
Oh my god, the silicates replicate corpses!
No, that would be the other corpse that Fazanan and Edwards did not find.
Getting ahead of things. Got it.
So Nova almost literally trips over the second body, but as a result,
Second?
you have second body.
Yep.
Nova got to over there.
Oh, right.
Ah,
Nova got to there and found another body. So you have now accounted for both of the
Can't
remaining.
moan about the ship if you can't spell it.
Yeah,
Carpathia.
I can't believe you misspelt the Carpathian.
So you can hear Webby's sanity slowly slipping
You can
away.
actually hear his eye twitching.
Right, so taking the Carpathia is no problem at all. Let me grab all of your tokens. So yes, with the new modifications to the sensor systems, you are able to you're able to penetrate the interference, and therefore sensors are able to get a better idea of the lay of the land, and you are able, therefore, to go off in the direction of the impact craters.
out of interest, did the plan of firing flares from the Navis actually come to fruition? Did we agree to do that or not?
I don't remember any such plan about flares. I remember the idea of firing a flare from the Carpathia.
We sent that one didn't work, but then when we got the comms down, we sent a few suggestions and ideas up the tree, as it were.
Right.
We haven't
So,
done anything with them or something else.
Let me grab.
Nah, we just sat and watched you guys. It's fine.
Just let me grab the Carpathia itself so I can put it on the map.
As Cabell takes his seat, the pilot's chair just sort of does the antenna equivalent of
taken out.
does the antenna equivalent of an eyebrow lift when he looks at the reconfigured sensor controls.
It's now a machine that goes bing! The most expensive machine on the entire ship.
It doesn't take you long to reach the largest crater. So, let me see, where are we? The crater.
Space.
Gotta go to space.
Space. Gotta go to space. Space.
No.
So, you've landed as close as you can, safely, to the impact crater. Sensors show that the crater was about a kilometer in diameter, but there was something inside of the impact crater. The scale might not be entirely a kilometer, but I did the best I could with what I have. So, the impact crater is over in this direction where I am pinging from your current location. So you have 3 to investigate.
Did sensors pick up any lifetimes or anything at all in the area?
No. Although, whilst you were flying here, there were occasional blips where sensors picked up something, but then promptly, whatever it was, moved out of sensor range. Even though you have improved sensors, their range is limited. It's far enough away that it's not. It makes, not careening into a mountain less of a possibility. But it's still limited in some way. Sorry, I talked over you there. What was that?
That's okay. Bertram starts scanning around for any significant biological pins.
Okay, when you do that, you get a very significant biological ping in this direction.
Okay.
As in big.
Okay. I'll tell the team my tricorder's picking up a large biological pin in that direction, and I'll start trying to get what readings I can from it to try and collect any data before we encounter it.
Alright. You're getting a bit of difficulty with that because the amount of silicate particulates are coming off of this thing in quite large numbers now, which suggests this impact crater and whatever's in it is the largest cause of the silicate in the atmosphere. So,
Okie dokie.
more than that, you're going to have to get pretty close to get more data.
Yeah. Okay. I'll pass this on and I'll start my tricorder basically continuing scanning as we get closer, assuming we move that way.
Okay, so everybody is free to move their tokens. Your lamps, your suit lamps are of course only illuminating so much, but you've got this much to work with. Nova is kind of veering off there a bit, but...
I'm going to keep close to the guy with the gun.
Oh, that's a good point. Did we put the sound gun in Cabal's? Yes, we did.
Vipers, you get left behind.
Vipers is indeed getting left behind, or maybe he just wants to stay close to the ship.
No, my browser.
Nova.
3 copies and everything.
Nova has just come across something large, stringy, and biological. They're like black particles coming off of it and floating up into the air.
Is it giving any sort of emphasis?
Oh,
No.
is this a cliff that he's just walked over?
Ori has just indeed gone down a bit of a steep decline, as it were, but it's not so steep that you're going to fall. Nova, no, there's no consciousness coming off of this.
Commander, we found the rest of the team.
Val, you keep an eye on that group. I'll find out what Nova's found.
Yes, Commander.
So, the groups that you have found. You have found what you pretty much found back at the... excuse me. Back at the science outpost. Vulcans with their suits broken open, their visors smashed as a result. They appear to have asphyxiated due to being, basically being exposed to the atmosphere. Anything else? Blah 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 blah. No, pretty much what you found before.
Doctor,
Almost exactly.
in case of
Commander?
Doctor, in case of catastrophic failure, suit failure, what would be the best course of action to survive as long as possible?
We found something green.
The environment, basically, the environment's so toxic that without something to at least keep your respiratory system stable and getting an acceptable amount of oxygen, etc., you wouldn't survive long. Essentially, you need some sort of, at the minimum, some sort of breathalyzer covering of the mouth and nose, and the ability to put breathable air in.
A respirator.
Respirator, that's the word I'm looking for.
I knew what
Thank
you were
you,
going
Q.
for. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
So, people don't let your face mask get smashed.
Pretty much. Nova and Ori have both found things that are green, biological, somewhat rubbery in texture. It does yield when you push against it. Like I said, bits of it are decaying. Well, a lot of it is decaying, and it's basically, you can push on it and you watch as puffs of this black silicate kind of come off of it, float into the air. Ori is using his tricorder, that's fine. You can give me a control and medicine check. What do you have for focuses? Genetics, potentially. Yeah, genetics will do. I'll unpause the game now. Ooh, very good. 2 successes. Right. Your immediate guess would be due to the the silicate nature of its
This thing's big.
cells, of its cell structure. This could very well be some kind of spacefaring organism that has made planetfall and has started decaying. And its cell structure, being mostly silicon-based, has released a lot of silicate into the atmosphere and is creating the cloud of darkness. Interestingly enough... Sorry, go on.
This could be the equivalent of a beached whale.
Potentially. But with 2 successes, Ori does find something very interesting. There are a lot of hollow spaces inside of this creature. Now, that could be any number of reasons, but you would imagine that a spaceborne organism would be pretty well sealed against the vacuum, or at least would have no spaces within it where there would be a difference in pressure, which would then cause explosive decompression if it was ever exposed to the vacuum of space. So it would be unusual for a spaceborne organism to sport hollows inside of itself, because they run the risk of creating different planes of pressure, unless they serve some function you're not aware of. There is an entrance somewhere over here that you think you can use to get inside of the creature if you wanted to.
When Liku was explaining this, Dr. Bertram will start looking to see if he can find any signs that this might be an engineered creature, like some sort of biotechnology, like it's basically kind of a natural spaceship.
Reason and medicine, please.
Okay.
With biotech focus.
What if it had parasites? About the things that got off it.
2 successes.
2 successes. You definitely think it's an engineered life form.
Yep, I have
Yeah.
this to the fin,
It's about
which
as far
at
as I
least
go.
is a crew.
There's purple
If
bits.
it's-
Would it be worth taking some cell samples before it?
Yeah, I've definitely taken samples.
Okie dokie. Nova, you definitely think there's an opening some ways this way. Because all these tentacles have like fallen down. There you go, there's a chamber.
Would you be able to, Bertram? Would you be able to take the samples and attune the sensors on the runabout to it, so we can actually have a large burst scan, so we can see if we can find out if things that had the DNA from the ship are the reason for what happened to the crew?
Commander, can I suggest that we keep together?
I'd need to see if we can find a way inside to take samples from inside. It's like I'll be able to do that from externally.
I believe Lieutenant Nova's already disappeared inside, Commander.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Can we raise Nova on the comms?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a bit crackly, but
Bertram to Nova.
Hello.
Hello. Are you inside the creature?
Is it a creature?
Biologically engineered creature, possibly a biological spaceship. I'd like to take samples and see inside. Can you direct me to where the entrance was that you used?
I suppose north of your current location, based on where I'm sensing your emotions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll sort of like go around and do a northern direction to try and find the entrance.
I think you should direct him in.
Yeah.
Focus on him specifically
keep
and
pinging.
his footsteps.
Okay.
so based on the scan or I did on its genetics using the tricord, does it resemble anything in the Federation database? No, it doesn't. It does not register as anything that has been encountered before.
Thank you, Nova.
So,
Matt, I'm gonna.
yes, go on.
As I say, I'm going to start scanning for the biological versions of things like relays for power and information, the equivalent of
Yep.
power nodes and computer nodes. So thinking if we could find the equivalent of a computer core, we could start getting some information out of it.
Yeah, no problem. So anybody who is familiar with ships like Thazanan would be good, as would somebody who's used to engineering, like Vibers or Edwards. And Stevens would be good for this as well, because you're all working to find correlation between tech and biotech and biology. So feel free to give me reason plus science, or reason plus con, or reason plus medicine, in order to try and find these similarities. One success from Edwards, so it seems like maybe Bertram's going to be in the lead in this.
Yep.
We can have 2 more helpers, so I would suggest Stevens and
successes,
Thazanan, maybe?
please.
2 successes for
Vibers hasn't rolled in
you.
a while, and if it's
Vibers
engineering-
hasn't rolled in a while as well, so maybe Vibers can get involved in this.
You might burn the determination on this for no reason.
It's entirely up to you. Okay, 1 success, very good. Thazanan also getting involved. Yeah. So, with all of you involved as you are, so, you know, Bertram's there going, well, this looks like this, and performs this, might perform this kind of function, at which point the other guys can go, well, that to me resembles blah blah blah. So, what do you find? The vessel itself does contain organs similar to a large alien entity that you would encounter on this scale, but of course based in silicates rather than carbon. Obviously it was once alive, but now it's very thoroughly dead, and apparently has been dead since impact. The craft itself does not appear to use warp drive, and appears to be able to propel its... You guess it would be able to propel itself to sublight speeds, thanks to a state of quantum mechanics. So those with expertise in such quantum fields suggest that it's not a warp-capable vessel, but can at least achieve high sublight speeds. Inside, you do find a number of chambers, like berths or larvae pods, that are cracked open and empty. Investigation of such pods does confirm that there was something inside.
Is this a potential colony ship?
Perhaps. You do find residual organic silicon inside of these pods, as well as some kind of embryonic gel or water to keep the whatever was inside braced from the impact damage. The size of these birthing pods indicates creatures that might be... Let me think, what's the equivalent? Certainly larger than any of you. It would be the equivalent to something like a... what do they call those? A worker bee. So a worker bee, one of those little repair pod things that you use for repairing the outside of a ship. Yeah, a shuttlecraft or a runabout is a scale 2 kind of starship. This and a worker bee is a scale 1 ship. So whatever was housed in these pods, these creatures, whatever they were big enough to be the same size as a worker bee.
Can we tell how long?
Go on, sorry.
Can we tell how long ago the pods?
Probably about 7 standard days, maybe 6.
Which coincides with when the craft came down.
Now, there is a direct chemical correlation between the erosion of the hull and the atmospheric change. A massive catalyzed chemical reaction is forming the thick silicate gas from the huge creature, which is stealing oxygen from the atmosphere to produce this strange these strange silicon oxygen molecules.
It's a terraforming ship.
If allowed to continue, this creature would fully decompose in about 2 standard weeks, and all of its matter would then be expressed into the atmosphere.
The question now becomes is that this planet was not habited before the ship's arrival?
This planet was indeed apparently not inhabited before the science team got here, and then of course,
technically, this silicon-based life forms have potentially laid claim to the planet, and therefore the Prime Directive kicks in, and we can't reverse the damage that's been done to the planet because they are terraforming it to accommodate their needs.
We'll pass that on to the captain in his next comms window, Stephens.
The 2 bodies, the body we found, the body Nova found just before we left, and the bodies in the crater, have we accounted for all of the missing Vulcans?
I'm not sure if anyone did go outside to count all of the Vulcan bodies. So you'd have to probably have another look at them in order to... Yeah, Ori was the closest and did go off, but investigated more of the... So someone is probably going to need to go outside in order to get a full accounting, just to make sure you got them all, yes.
How many bodies did you scan?
So you've got the 2 at the base, and word was that the expedition that went to the crater was about 6 strong. So, with that in mind, what would you like to do?
Taking samples from the ship and the pods, the DNA traces and the embryonic fluid, both for sort of later research, and also with the DNA traces and that, I'm going to see if we can combine that with the geometric mapping parameters do we got to see if we can start trying to actually see if there are any nearby creatures like that, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. You're probably going to need something with a bit more processing power than your tricorder, so you're probably talking something like the runabout or or more than likely the sensors back at the science outpost, because those are specific. The outpost sensors are specifically geared to do nothing but gather data. So
yeah. Is Nova, when Nova just said hello when she found that, is she letting us know what she's found?
The decomposing brain matter, it looks like, yeah.
Because if Nova says to us, I think I found the brain, Bertram's heading in that direction.
I think considering Bertram's about, she would tell him that she's potentially found the controlling aspect.
Now, Bertram, being able to sprint in an EVA suit is not easy, but somehow Bertram manages it. Even on squidgy, yielding ground like a decomposing spacefaring organism, Bertram makes tremendous speed towards the brain. In fact, Ori has to stand back as he's almost bulldozed over by a charging Bertram.
Thank you, Nova. Excellent.
Brain matter.
They just assumed it was only plants I was interested in.
Oh my god, Mossman's evolving.
He has a taste for brains.
I won't ask for any kind of fitness and security check from Ori to see if he does dodge out the way in time. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure my fitness is not high enough to barge through him.
Plus, Bertram had lights. You could see him coming. It's fine.
I don't know. It's a new life form for Bertram to dissect.
Well, maybe if we put some electronic signal through it, and artificially power a brain, I might be able to get some pictures or feelings of.
I'm glad that's where you're going. I was thinking you were going zombie kind of thing. We're going to Frankenstein.
That's next. We're going to refloat this vessel.
Yeah.
Actually, Matt, if Nova suggests the first
vortical stimulators,
I want to scan the brain to see how decayed it is and if there's any hope of that, and then letting Nova know yes or no, basically.
This has been decomposing for a week.
Right.
So there is definitely some damage. Now, I'm not a biologist. I don't know for certain if what organs in the body decay faster.
Google is your friend?
Yeah, well, if someone wants to jump ahead. I mean, yeah, we're carbon-based life forms, and this is a silicon-based life form, so the rules are probably not the same, but that's actually kind of an interesting question. Does the nervous system decay faster or slower or the same pace as
I'd imagine they'd want some kind of black box and this makes a less logical point.
Yeah, even the carbon-based thing, the brain...
liver usually begins, apparently.
Okay. Things with the most bacteria in them would dissolve faster.
Apparently, just because you quickly, but that's in a carbon-based life form.
A lot of clever folks just spoke up all at once there. What was your comment, Jan?
I was just going to say, just remember, just because you can switch it on doesn't mean you should.
And Webby, what was your word?
No, mine was just going on about the actual decomposition of body parts. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, in a standard thing, the brain would decompose quite quickly, but Nova did bring a point up. If this had been bioengineered, it might.
A black box.
This would be a likely thing for the equivalent of black box. So, I'll see if I can make heads or tails enough to get. Probably in the biological thing, it'd be the equivalent of neurons that hold memories.
So you're basically going to do what doctors in the 24th century do, which is when you try and put neural shock into somebody to reawaken them when their system goes down. In order to try and revive them.
I want to see if I can identify them before I try and shock it.
So yeah, this is going to be reason and medicine with xenobiology.
We believe in you, Bertram. You can do it. Just pick a random bit, it'll be fine. You just gotta believe, Doctor. You just gotta believe.
2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, yeah. You think you know where you could put the neurocortical monitors to then deliver a cortical stimulant shot? Or to try and see what neurons you can get to fire.
Okay. I am going to be relaying what I'm doing to Vibers as the team leader. He can override this decision as the person in command. And it's not at all because I know how much he loves these command decisions.
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
That's
What we're about to do.
that's basically what I'm about to try. Nova, if this brain works anything like a standard brain, it'd be very helpful if you could actually report on what, if anything, you get out of it when I do this.
Well, you've also got Ori.
Ori makes a good point.
Yeah, Ori's telepathic, and Nova's empathic. So between the two of them, they might
Actually,
do
they're
something
both
very
empathic.
weird.
Caval, would you like to join me standing outside just in case this thing spasms and kills anyone once? We've got a potential. I've got a pilot to get me home.
The real question is, if we're coming through the mouth or somewhere else?
Jumbo enema.
Yes, you might get evacuated in the most literal sense.
I'm hearing, what was it,
Poop.
that film Evolution vibes here.
Pretty much. Right then, so if Bertram wants to give me a control and medicine check.
Okay, given this is very, very sort of new thing, I am going to throw this in.
Surgeon's decoration. Once permission, you may reduce the difficulty. Ooh, curse you. Okay. Just 2 then.
Okie dokie.
Burning determination for science.
I'm going to go first for knowledge, this determination.
Okay. I have to reload again because once again the what's it gone? Loading. I might miss the roll, so don't roll yet.
Okay.
I am loaded back in, so feel free.
Oh, and I don't know if this will help as well. Quick study.
Quick
given that
study.
This is an unfamiliar species.
All right, difficulty is 1.
Actually, given the difficulties 1, I might hold off on the determination.
Okay.
2 successes.
2 successes. Ori and Nova. Can I get fitness and what to do? Can I get fitness and command tests from both of you, please?
To see how well you hold your brains together.
Pretty much.
Is this on an empathetic sense?
It is indeed. So Ori, I'm afraid, has no... Actually, no. I will allow Ori to use xenoanthropology for this as a focus. Meanwhile... no successes for Ori. Oh dear. Nova?
Just finding something.
2 worse.
Cochrane, Medal of Excellence. I can kill you with my brain. A single focus, once permission. When you use a point of determination, you receive 2 benefits from point of determination. Good grief. Okay, so Nova should be fine. It's Ori we have to worry about.
Nova
How do
is
we get all
determined
that
to make a link.
What was that, Mike? Sorry.
All these medals, I want some.
Yeah. Give it time, man. Give it time.
You have to be a true Pokemon master to get these medals.
Pretty much. All right. So no successes, 3 successes. So when the current goes through the brain shudders, and you can almost see the spasming of certain muscles, tendons, but mostly it's a flash that goes through the brain, so you can track the current as it goes through the neurons. And all of a sudden, there's a big empathetic blast, which the non-empaths and non-telepaths don't get. But the two that do, there's this big transmission, and it pretty much overwhelms Ori's empathic sense. Nova, however, is able to steel herself since she has dealt with contact with alien and large minds before. And the overwhelming feeling that both Ori and Nova get is a question. And if you were to articulate this question, it would be one word with a question mark at the end.
Hello.
I am going to deselect everybody, and this is basically the impression you get. Now, whilst this is going on, back with Fazanan and Vibers, you guys are down with the bodies, and from where you're at, it looks like Vibers was over here at some point, so he's managed to find the errant. He'd managed to find the errant corpse that the rest hadn't quite stumbled across. So between the two of you, you can count 6, and that's the rest of the team. Now, your attention is briefly drawn away as you see the entire bio creature ship kind of shudder. And so that was like, whoa, that was weird. And that's when Caval feels a hand grip his ankle. And he looks down to see that the Vulcan corpse has just reached out and grabbed his foot. And the Vulcan slowly sits up and just turns awkwardly his head in Caval's direction and is now starting to slowly crawl up Caval's leg.
The living Vulcans.
Vibers, whilst this is going on, you hear something move kind of behind you and to your right, and as Vibers turns, he sees the nearest Vulcan is also turning over and getting up, and is reaching a hand for Vibers. And it's not just those two. All of the Vulcan corpses are now standing up.
Dr. Bertram, I believe you have reanimated the Vulcans.
Typical Vulcans don't know when they're dead.
Ori and Nova, after hearing this booming empathic signal of home, get this secondary sensation. Like I've noted before with Nova, it's like a rumble of thunder, like a sound that comes from a distance, and it catches up with you and it comes in as a boom. And it's once again a feeling of curiosity, and that that feeling, as it rumbles over, it seems to stay, it seems to linger, and then you become both characters become empathically aware that there is a mind or minds have now superimposed themselves over the Vulcans and are basically puppeting them. With that in mind, I am adding everybody to what passes for initiative in this place. As I go into our combat tracker and check that everybody's there. Yes, they are, and we're going to throw it to Attack of the Zombie Vulcans!
Caval, finally unleash your prejudice.
I was going to say, yeah, it would make sense for Caval to go first. Does Caval want to go first?
I wonder if they can still...
Jan, you go first.
I wonder if they can still do the nerve pinch.
I was going to say, use the Yule Chantor, don't beat them with a sound gun.
No, beat them with a sound gun.
No.
He's telling you what to do. Don't listen to it.
Why are we
Fazanan.
assuming they're hostile?
Sorry, Sean, what was that?
Why are we assuming they're hostile? They haven't
Indeed. Fazanan, there is a dead Vulcan crawling up your leg, and he just seems to keep on reaching higher and higher for you, like he's coming for your face, for your head, for some. Maybe he's coming for your brains. Who knows?
All he wants to do is eat brains. He's not unreasonable. He's not going to eat your eyes.
I shall give you a point of threat so that I can use my Ushan talent.
Okay.
To roll 3 dice. As I use my Ushan tool because I don't know if the stun gun will really affect them. Since
Okay.
they're dead.
Feel free. So this is going to be daring and security. From daring and security by the zombie Vulcan. So I got 3. That's what you're aiming to exceed or overcome. You got 3. Okay. So what happens is the Vulcan kind of gets to its feet at last and stands fully up, and it is reaching for Fazanan's face. It is physically putting out its hands and reaching for Cabal's visor. And when it meets the visor, after having seen the dead bodies and you're thinking, you've also raised the point, what happens if the visor means you get exposed? You start to feel very security conscious. And so Cabal and the zombie are just kind of wrestling as Cabal's trying to hold this thing's hands away from his visor. So it becomes a bit of a draw. Yep.
Because of the Ushan, I can actually re-roll.
Go for it. I think it will help. Reroll one of them, probably the 14.
Well, they're all a success.
They are all successes, yeah, but you can potentially get more if you want to try it.
No, it's fine. Because I don't have a focus, so I need a 1-4. So that's fine, I won't reroll.
Alrighty, let me see. Next fella is going to be, unless you want to spend momentum to keep the initiative. Going once.
I don't think we have that choice in this game.
No, we haven't got.
It's an
we haven't
Andrew's
got
talent.
Yeah, it's Andrew's talent to seize the initiative. Unless we
You can
momentum.
spend 2 momentum to seize the initiative. Up to you.
I'm kind of curious as to what they'll do, to be honest.
Okay. Any other takers? Let it happen or seize the initiative.
Let's let it happen.
Let it happen. Okay.
Yeah, and then if needs be, we can seize the initiative afterwards, see what they do.
The Vulcan nearest to Vibers gets up, wanders awkwardly forwards, and attempts to grab Vibers by the visor. So this is daring and security, which means that Vibers is going to have to do daring and security as well. Pardon me, as well. I got 1 success, so that's what you have to exceed.
Right. Now,
Take the initiative.
this is where
Submit
I...
determination.
I'm not doing that. I'm going for my usual. Back in my...
Back in mind.
Back in the day.
That would have worked so much better if you hadn't have broken up twice.
I was once trained in hand-to-hand combat with Vulcans like zombies. For that very specific reason.
Well, don't you have,
Happens
because
more
you
than you
have
think.
joy,
Holodex.
Yes.
you gain a trait with the name of the
It just
symbiont,
so
potential
happens.
advantages.
Oh god. God, can you imagine Call of Duty 2409?
It just so happens we were in a really good fight against some drunk Orions back on the fair.
So, once per mission, you can declare that a former host of yours had expertise in a relevant skill, field, or field of study, and you gain a single focus for the remainder of the scene.
Yes. New von
So
Vibus was really good at close combat fighting with phasers against unarmed opponents that were
Well,
very
close
strong.
combat fighting wouldn't use phasers, it would use fists or a weapon or a
I was
close
gonna
weapon.
say,
So.
Yeah, but it's CQC. You can still use a gun with CQC.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, though his wording of it does vaguely go into like war crimes. I was using my phaser against this unarmed drunk guy. It's like
No, because phasers are also stun weapons. It's crowd control.
Yeah,
Right.
well,
Alright.
the Federation.
So,
What doesn't go in the official report, the Federation don't know.
So, Vibers is going to have to make a daring and security check with a focus this time.
that did not come through, did it?
No, it didn't. Give it a moment.
Okay.
I saw those. Still hasn't come
I
through.
did.
Yeah, I saw the dice roll, but the result
Yeah, so
hasn't
did I.
come through.
It's weird how that happens. It registers the dice roll enough to forload the 3D dice roll, but it doesn't send the simple text of the result. Intriguing.
Right again.
These are not the dice you're looking for.
Well, quite.
Apparently not.
So, roll me a daring and security, please, Davis. Ooh, those are terrible dice. One success, so it's a no-score draw. So you managed to hold off the zombie for a bit longer. Who wants to go next out of you lot?
I'm good being last.
Anybody want to go next?
Nova will go next.
Nova will go next. Nova, what would you like to try?
I'm going to try and empathetic first, because it seems to be curious, so I'm going to try and channel friendship and non-hostility.
Okay. So, once again, give me insight and command, please.
Are you using your medal as well to try and avoid a hostile situation?
That would be your peace mission thing, wouldn't it? Yes. Wants permission when attempting to persuade to prevent violence. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Hedging all your bets. Good. One success.
Will be two.
Will be two, yeah. So that's cool. That's pretty good. Okay. So the empathic sense that you get next definitely doesn't come from the ship. Nothing more has come from the ship ever since Bertram put the basically the shock into its brain. This definitely comes from outside, but it feels like it's getting closer. And as a result, you get a bit more of a fix on what the message is trying to be. And yeah, as I noted before, both Ori and Nova, but particularly Nova, get the impression that some consciousness or other has grabbed hold of the Vulcan corpses and is puppeting them. But this time, when Nova looks with the intention of trying to cease hostilities, Nova gets kind of an almost overwhelming signal back that comes back as, and hopefully I don't have anybody selected. So I just put the message in the chat column, so it didn't come out of anybody's mouth specifically, but that's the overall sense that Nova gets in response. It's almost desperate. So
I volunteer to give myself to V.
Sorry, Mike, go on.
I volunteer to give myself to V'ger. All good.
No!
In our
Well,
blood.
You can always elect to go next, so yeah. So yeah, that's what Nova gets, is this overwhelming feeling of must make contact. The fact that you have projected out a whoa, 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 you know, we're peaceful kind of feeling, just seems to make that message of must make contact all the more emphatic.
Or I would try to make contact.
Do you want to therefore spend 2 momentum in order to seize the initiative and have Ori go next before these zombies get to go again?
No, I think it's worthwhile.
Okay. So, we will activate Ori. Badoop! So what's Ori doing?
He's gonna place his hands on the nearest wall or area that looks like it might connect to the creature's nervous system, and open himself up psychically and try to say, "You want contact? I am willing to facilitate that."
Okay. Alright then. Alright then. Alright then. Alright then. Let me think just a moment. No, okay, no, I got this. I'm going to need... Oop.
That was the last thing that we ever heard from Ori. Next week on Star Trek Navis, the new science officer. Right.
Looking for his lost brother.
Have you seen my brother? No.
It's fine. He's coming back as our new counsellor.
No, we don't have a counsellor on this ship.
We don't need no stinking counselor. Right. What happens next is the reanimated Vulcans stop what they were doing. All of them as one stop. And the 2 that were reaching for Caval and Kano's helmets, they kind of let their hands drop and they just stand there. I mean, they still look really blooming horrific because they are dead bodies and they are still staring blankly. Not at you, but, you know, they're still looking at you initially, so... But now they've stopped, they've ceased all movement. And that's when Liku, Lieutenant Ori, gets the very, very definite feeling that there's something behind him. So even though he's got his hands up against the bioship, he's definitely not making contact with any kind of mind, but he does sense there's something behind him. Turns head to glance behind. Okay, now, give me just a moment. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Right. Okay. This is going to be a bit tricky to do because your light source doesn't illuminate enough. Within the... I'm going to try and bring it this way to illuminate more of it. Within this... The darkness doesn't exactly part next to Ori as he turns around, because you can't actually turn your head because you've got an EVA helmet on. So all you do is turn your head inside of your helmet. Sadly.
Turn as a whole.
So when you eventually do, yes, turn as a whole, your shoulder lamps on your EVA suit illuminate a form in the gloom. It appears to be almost like some kind of... If you were to give it any kind of comparison to anything else, it was almost like a seed pod, but has a lot of wavy tendrils dangling from it. It's difficult to make too much of it out because this thing is large enough that some of its body, some of its form, is still large enough to be obscured by the fact that your light can't penetrate very far thanks to the silicate. But this thing is now just kind of hovering there, right next to Ori, and it's all these feelers start to reach out towards Lieutenant Ori. While this is going on, what are the rest of you doing? Yeah. While you guys are thinking about that, sorry, just to interrupt.
I'm in hand-to-hand
side
combat
note.
with them.
You were in hand-to-hand combat with the zombie, but now it's kind of let go. Anyway,
Good.
both Ori and Nova get the sense of intense curiosity coming from this creature, but it's not the originator of the empathic, the telepathic voice, as it were. It's definitely linked to it in some fashion you can't quite determine, but it's definitely not the originator of the voice. Which is odd, because that's what you wanted to make contact. You opened yourself up to make contact with. So what you've got here, you're not entirely certain.
Can we ask it what it is? Who it is?
Can. Before we get there, though, let's catch up with what the other guys are doing, because more than likely you got a sense of what's going on. I mean, you definitely heard Vibers and Thazanan motioning that they're being attacked by dead Vulcans, so...
Probably start heading out to help, to see if we could help, but... There's no side entrance, you say, or is it the...
You can try and find one, you haven't looked. You could maybe find an orifice that you haven't haven't come out of yet.
I'll try and find one, yes. To come out that's not at the back, if it's quicker. Shush.
Find a hole to come out of. Nice.
But yeah, basically go back and forth. What kind of roll do you want me to
That's fine.
do? Or...
You'll either find one or you won't, so you just basically push against something until it yields enough to let you out.
Get to Vibers, and then when you see that they're not fighting you or attacking you, he's like stop in confusion. He's like, Commander? Face her up, and they're just waiting for orders.
Check Val. I'm keeping this one at bay. I don't want to trigger it.
Yeah, just get to Caval, check him over, and that'll be the end of it then. Move on to someone else.
I think, yeah, Stevens will persuade Dr. Bertram that it's probably a good time to be heading outside and kind of half drag, half push. Make sure he does get out.
Alright, so everything that happened with Ori and Vibers and Thazanan took at least a couple of seconds, so you would have probably made it out by the time this creature appears behind Ori. So, at least Bertram and Stevens. I don't know what Nova's doing in the meantime.
And I think curiosity of what's outside would probably getting the best of us.
Yeah. So
head down as well.
So Stevens was going to grab Bertram, so...
Yeah, until Bertram was pulled away, he'd probably basically been taking sort of samples and scans of the whole thing.
Well, I took that as I took that as,
yeah.
default.
Yeah. So I'm currently bouncing between this and the other thing.
Oh yes, of course, I forgot my part. Yeah. Sorry. So, I'm gonna put Bertram close to Stevens. Stevens can make it out. So, end up where you want to end up, basically. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that you stay inside of the creature. Cool. So, Nova, you get a similar view as Ori, just this kind of hovering thing that's shaped like a seed pod, obviously some kind of living organism of some variety. Lots of tendrils snaking out, and they seem to now be reaching forward for Ori. Stevens and Bertram, of course, not entirely aware of this, because they can't quite see it. due to the obfuscating nature of the silicate particles.
Yeah, but with a tricorder out, is it giving?
But with a tricorder out, you could.
Is it giving? Yeah, we're getting some very strong readings, and just be like, yeah, I'm not going to go over there.
The pod creature is reaching out with its tendrils and starts to feel around Orai's head, pacing, the helmet. And these tendrils are probing and slithering around, and the end of them are very fine tips, and they kind of trace the outline of where the the clear shield of the helmet is, and then of course there's the solid non-transparent backing. The feelers are questing all around Orai's helmet.
So the atmosphere is toxic.
Yes.
To inhale, but it's
Yes.
not toxic for contact, is it? Because it's silicates.
It depends on how long you can hold your breath for, I suppose.
No. I'm not talking about holding breath. I'm
Taking a
talking
glove.
about taking a glove off, sealing off the arm of this suit, and then taking a glove off to allow direct contact.
So
Well,
it's
you
not
can suggest it.
caustic.
It will be caustic, yeah. It's gonna be abrasive at very, very least.
Mhm.
You can suggest that, whether or not Orai wants to do it. Because he currently has tentacles probing around his helmet.
He will allow contact to be made.
For science!
You finally found
Boldly.
someone to reciprocate.
Oh,
Next week on Star Trek Navis. What happened to my brother? Where? Oh. Did you know that incident with Vija? Yeah, well, your brother did that with a space alien, kind of like what Kirk did,
Got to know an alien very, very well. Okay.
yep.
At least take you out for dinner first.
So, Orai, yes, takes his glove off, and yeah, it stings like the dickens. You've ever had your skin blasted by sand? Ever been on a beach in
Yeah.
high winds? That stuff stings more than a little bit. So this is the kind of thing. These are high wind currents, and your skin is being blasted with sand. But nevertheless, okay, take the glove off, offer it up. At which point the tendrils slither out and then make contact with your hand. Now then. What happens here? Just check.
Ecstasy.
Let me see.
It was the greatest mind meld for the remainder of his life.
Right.
Where's
he
the
was-
thing? Go on. He was what, sorry?
Completely happy during the mind meld that lasted 10 seconds.
Wouldn't call it happy from the look on his face, but yeah.
He died doing what he wanted to do. Make love to
Doing the
Aliens.
Kirk maneuver.
Making love to a cephalopod, yeah.
Well, it's alien and it is green.
Ah, Kirk would be proud.
All right.
give the Captain Kirk
That's-
accommodation.
Go on, sorry. Okay, so this is what happens. Orai makes contact with one of the tentacles, and the tentacle wraps itself. Pardon me, I just knocked my own my mic. Wraps itself around the guy's hand, and there's an immediate sensation of a telepathic link. And for a moment, it's like, oh yeah, I've done this before. And then, as he's suddenly thrust into this massive consciousness, it's almost like, how can I best describe this? All right, you're a tiny, tiny fish, and you're in a massive ocean, and you've just made contact with a feeler tendril of something. Then all of a sudden, the rest of the body has come down, and the rest of the body of the creature ends up being this gigantic like jellyfish, let's say, that easily takes up the entire view of the ocean in front of you. And it's sitting there in front of you and goes... Hang on a second.
What are you?
Scare roused.
Yes.
What are you?
I am a Deltan. I am Ori.
You are Delta. You are Ori. What are Delta?
I am a carbon-based life form.
Harbon. Explain.
And I will explain the periodic table of elements if necessary.
There's hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon.
They take time.
Sodium, magnesium, aluminium, strontium. Getting a bit
And
rusty.
many more, but we haven't been discovered.
Are we basically doing the elements song
The elements,
from?
but in the correct order of atomic mass. Yeah, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon.
Gareth, you know what I'm
Sodium,
talking
magnesium,
about, right?
aluminium, silicon.
Yeah, we know. He's just being pedantic.
Yeah.
He's seeing
What's
it.
up, Matt?
Yeah,
The,
I'm singing the tune, but to the correct atomic rate.
Animaniacs, that's what I was trying to remember. Jeez.
Yeah. I went to Earthworm Jim.
My part.
You always go to Earthworm Jim.
Let's
Now-
all sing the Inert Gases song.
Nova is, due to her proximity, she's getting this as well. She is definitely sensing this consciousness contacting, asking these questions.
It's never going to do the same now as well. Just be like, hello.
How did we
Definitely
all die?
introduce yourself
We
and
were
confuse it more.
Wait. We hear another. Yet you are separate. How?
When a mummy and a daddy love each other very much, they hug in a special way.
Okay, so
There-
I'm guessing this thing is vaguely hive-based.
My species is not a collected group. We are individuals that act independently upon reality as we.
So, you are like drones without my ordering.
I suppose that's not entirely inaccurate.
But how are you alive?
Wow, when a mummy Delta and a daddy Delta love each other very much, they hug in a special way.
Delton's left.
I think it's more they're asking about how you're alive in the environment.
You are not alive. How do you think? How do you feel? What are you?
It's a series of interconnected neural pathways that lead to a highly developed brain, which consists of multiple folds of tissue that have different purposes that are integrated to perform advanced functions and control our bodies and perceive our environment and interact with it.
But you have a skin. Your skin is alive, but what is inside is not.
No, we're alive, inside and out.
I think the suit is confusing it.
Yeah, just say that we are a meat sack.
we are in a protective covering because we are damaged by this environment.
You are damaged by air.
By this type.
So your skin is not skin.
No, that's a false protective covering. It's artificial.
And so, the life we sense is the life of your skin.
The life you sense is what's inside that skin.
No, we sense the life in the skin. But what is inside the skin is not alive. It has no field. It does not resonate.
Damn it, I can't. I'm measuring it. I'm not involved.
Go on, though. What's your thought?
Are they? Well, it's a case of can we? Are they?
Let's
Are
say
they
that
electrical life forms in meat suits?
Yeah, but it's also the fact of are Nova and Ori projecting this what they're receiving on open comms.
Let's say that because Ori has direct physical contact with this thing, that he can't help but open his mouth, and the questions coming from the creature are coming out of Ori's mouth. That'll make
There we
sense.
go.
Just make things easier.
Yeah, as what Sean said, it's the power. I think if it's only recognising the electrical energy and outputs as life, and the actual meat stuff is not, so is it literally just? Is this like a biological encounter suit with what's inside being a being of more? What's it called? It's moved on to a different plane of existence, kind of thing. They don't have. They don't have metal. They have. Yeah, basically, yeah. They don't. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, they use meat like we use metal and synthetics.
I don't think it's bothered about the meat himself. I don't think it's seen it before.
All I was saying is we wouldn't think a spaceship's hull is alive, but to them it might be because the energy flowing through it. It sees the energy, but it's using the flesh bits as. That's what I'm trying to think. I'm just thinking
We do generate minor electrical signals, not massively, but we do.
But it's not registering that though. It's only registering the suit.
Well,
Because the suit's blanking us out. We're inside.
Possibly.
What was that, Mike?
I mean, I'm a sleep tech, so I monitor people's brain waves at night, and those brain waves give off micro voltages that we interpret to be certain stages of sleep. So we definitely have creatures that give off electrical signal.
Yes, definitely.
So they
If
should.
we can overcharge our empathy to send the signal to show what's inside is alive.
If you want to try. The rest of you, who are not involved in the telepathic side of things, your tricorders are now going nuts. They are registering, and you can actually see it flashing through the sky. There is an intense... how to describe this? The magnetic fields of the in the atmosphere, you're now getting a registration of there is one very large magnetic surge, electromagnetic surge traveling towards your location. It's like something is generating an enormous electromagnetic field and is homing in on this position.
Would this be of a level that would be dangerous to our electronics?
You don't think so, because currently it's registering as being up in the upper atmosphere. But yes, as it gets closer, it will start generating interference that will make it harder for communications and sensors to work. shouldn't
Yeah, and
interfere with
also-
the life support of your EVA suits.
You are not alive, yet you think, feel. We made contact.
Could you give me your definition of alive? Perhaps we're working on different definitions.
Alive is a field. This field connects everything. It is intense around the poles of a planet. We
magnetic.
see with these fields. We feed with these fields. We are alive. These fields are life.
I see. We have electrical fields that we generate, but are you talking about magnetic fields of the planet?
Magnetics. Yes. This makes sense. Your protective skins have energy, have life. We can feed on that.
Please don't.
We tried with the others. We tried to make contact. But when we made contact, their animatedness ceased. We did not understand.
You killed them. You terminated their life function. They were unable to function after you fed on them.
We ceased their life function.
You did.
Ori and Nova get this overwhelming feeling of, well, remorse.
It's fine, they'll fake Romulans. It's fine. They're fake Romulans, we don't mind.
We only sought to make contact. We sensed minds. They made contact with us. We felt other consciousnesses. We have never felt that before. We needed more. But when we tried, they ceased. You say we killed them.
We have a finite supply of energy that is microscopic compared to that of a planet. We are unable to provide the levels of energy and power that you can receive from a planet, and it is fatal to us if you attempt that.
Just a reminder, they did actually die of asphyxiation. So I think it was more that they breached the suits while feeding.
I mean, he'll open himself up even more if they want to probe everything he has in his mind.
Okay, noted. Okay. Being an empath, Ori is used to feeling another mind touch his own. I don't know if it's as common a thing as it is for betazoids at the very least, so the sensation of someone on something rummaging around inside of your memories is a bit odd. I mean, for Nova this would not be odd because it's a betazoid thing.
Yeah, I think it would be fighting to him.
So, you know, Nova at least can offer some mental reassurance. Like, you know, this is normal. This is how this kind of contact feels when you allow someone else to rummage through your memories. It's going to feel a bit odd, but as long as you relax and don't fight it, you should be okay.
We have made a mistake, and we have terminated other lives. We are so sorry.
favour, removing the fake Romulans.
This is why the captain of the ship, not
We only sought a new home. We are making a new home.
Where was your old home?
We were seeded from a colony. Quite some ways from here. We send out many such spore ships. When our spore ship locates a planet that is already devoid of life, we colonize it. We will build more structures here. We will build more life forms that will aid us. And then, when the time comes, a spore ship will be made, and they will travel onto another planet. This is how we grow. This is how we seed. But we had never encountered other minds before. Your consciousness. We had never felt that. We needed to know more. We needed to experience this consciousness. But we made a mistake. We are sorry.
There is currently a riot of electrical discharges going up in the clouds and the atmosphere above so strongly that it's even starting to penetrate the gloom. Massive amounts of electrical discharges are going off, but interestingly enough, for those who are watching, so basically those that are not involved in the telepathic contact, the stronger electrical discharges that you can make out, even through all the silicate, are corresponding with whenever Ori speaks with the voice of whatever this is. So, what would you like to do now? You've
Yes,
essentially
what would-
made first contact.
I think we're going to have to report to the Federation.
I'm gonna go back to this runabout and
I'll join
start
Vibers.
sending all the reports for this while also hopefully preparing us for a quick exit. And I think we need a second contact ship.
Well, getting to the runabout is no problem, of course. Sending a signal with the runabout is going to be a problem because there is now a lot of electrical interference thanks to the electromagnetic storm going on overhead. But using what you've managed to do, you can try and use... You're going to have to basically give the signal a boost by using the Carpathia's power source. In the meantime, the consciousness lets Ori go, and the pod just kind of hovers there, as if waiting to see what you do next. So, what are you going to do now?
Alright.
Anybody?
I think Ori should put his glove back on first.
I think after he comes out,
Sorry, you got cut off there, Mike. Say that again.
I think after he comes out of the massive mental connection he had, he would put his glove back on. Yes.
Yep. He might have a bit of a bloodshot eye. From several blood vessels behind his eye, popping through the the strain of having to take such a massive consciousness. He might have a headache for a couple of days.
Check
Okay,
that
okay,
he's
check.
okay.
Yeah.
Find the doctor.
So Bertram finds that, yeah, Delton only, it is known for Deltons to be empaths, but not all of them, of course, have it. In a way that most betazoids are telepathic or empathic. So, as a result, yeah, Ori's empathic center of his brain has taken a whacking. It's like basically someone's been screaming in your ear, so your ear's gotten a little sore now from all the sound blasting it's taken. If I can make that kind of comparison.
On fire.
So there's a slight ringing in your ears from taking speaking with something that's so massive. All right. So basically, I suppose my next question is: are you guys going to hang around? Are you guys going to leave? What's the aim now?
I think the aim would be to probably leave.
I mean,
Let's collect our dead and get out of here unless anyone else got
Well, there's
anything
no dead.
they want to
There's
do.
no dead here. There's just fake Romulans.
Well, indeed,
Also-
the
We got
fake
them
Romulans
to
have now
recover.
gone back to being
Vulcans,
dead and inanimate. So
which is
probably
fine, but we were asked
We
to
could have asked
recover
it to
them.
at least get
We're
them to
gonna
walk
recover
on
them.
board. Yeah, just get them to walk on board the shuttle. We were like, just pick them up again, stick them in the shuttle. It's effort.
The rest of us have had we've got an anti-grav sled, and
This is the only ever time.
We've been doing this while you're talking.
The only time we have ever used the anti-grav sled is to move fake Romulans. Wow, what a waste of the use of the anti-grav sled.
corpses
It
of that,
also
yeah.
quenched
The
the
anti-grav
force.
sled is stained with green flipping mess now. We're gonna have to hydro wash that constantly.
It
You'll
could
never get the
be
smell of copper out.
worse. It could be covered in human mess.
The human mess is fine 'cause it's
Fine.
red. It's not green.
I would say
Humans are
probably
just weird. They smell wrong.
let the creatures actually know about what our intentions are for this. Because if we just go off without a word,
Well, no, that's the that's the thing. If we would like to leave,
Yep. So if Ori and or Nova let the creature know that you want to leave, it doesn't seem to stop you, and it just kind of floats out of your way.
A gap in the storm would be nice as well.
He would like to leave.
Of course.
Are we gonna offer it forgiveness and ask it if it wants to? Look into.
yeah. Does it want us to relay a message anywhere? Obviously, we may not be able to actually fully transmit the message, but we'll do everything in our power to send something back from where it came from. If it has been wanted.
We severed our connection with our megapod when we left. We do not expect to make contact with any others of our kind again. But you are... what is this? Considerate to give us the option. Thank you.
Perhaps we should establish some protocols for making contact in future.
I agree.
Well,
It's fine.
again,
Only one eye's bigger than the other. All right, it's okay.
again, those who haven't been engaging in the telepathic contact have been noticing an awful lot of whenever the telepathic contact is made, and Ori or Nova speak with a different voice, there is a what's the word I'm looking for? There is a
Significant.
the electromagnetism in the atmosphere changes in subtle ways. So, with that, a reason and science, or reason and engineering, can be used to try and see if you can notice a pattern.
Anyone or?
Anyone. I mean, it would make more sense for those who haven't been involved in the telepathic stuff to give them something to do. So we're talking Edward, Stevens, Thazanan, Vibers.
Or I was going to push his eyeball back in the socket.
Yeah.
I mean, that helps.
Which is really interesting considering that you're in a suit, and therefore...
What's the role, sorry?
Reason and science.
Electroplasma systems as a foci?
Not really, but I will allow warp field dynamics. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to allow it.
For everyone, by the way.
Sorry?
We're doing it separate or
It looks like together because Alex has rolled a 1. Rolled 1 dice, I mean.
Who's the lead then?
Let's give Vibers the lead, shall
You
we?
just said so.
Fine.
Delegation.
Delegation, indeed. 3 successes. Vibers, if you want to give one as well. Reason and science. With, let's see.
Warp
Again,
field dynamics and
warp
power
field
systems.
dynamics would be the best. I mean, it's a stretch, but okay. We'll count the 2. 2 successes, 3 successes, 1 success. I mean, Thazanan can give it a go if he really wants to, but we don't have to. What has he got?
Will be prepping the
Yeah.
dynamo.
So, yeah. The electromagnetic fluctuations that you're noticing in the atmosphere are very odd. They're definitely not natural. And whilst you're busy noticing these electromagnetic fluctuations, you then correlate them with whenever the creature or whenever this consciousness is speaking, and you make the link that, as well as being telepathic, there also appears to be a pattern, a sequence in the electromagnetism in the atmosphere, and it definitely is concentrated in one specific area, and the running it through the universal translator, the computer thinks it's a language, but it's using manipulation of magnetic fields. In any case, you now have the basis for the potential for a means of communication. But in order to communicate via magnetic fields, you're probably going to need something a wee bit stronger than just the runabout.
Like the Navis.
Like the Navis. So, if folks want to do something else, or pack up and head towards the Navis.
I vote Navis.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Then
Navis.
Navis it shall be.
Back into the runabout with an absolute butt ton of samples he's taken from the ship.
Oh yes.
Oh, the brain samples.
Brain samples, the samples of the nervous system, the flesh, each organ that he's found, the pod, embryonic, and DNA samples.
All right then.
Doctor, do you remember that time you insulted me with Vulcan zombies?
Insulted you?
Yes, I do believe you were the one who's caused the zombies to attack.
I don't know what you're talking about. Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a necromancer.
I applaud you.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody gets on board the Carpathia and starts making for the upper atmosphere. And what you notice is that the ship sensors register a strong manipulation of electromagnetic energies to the point where a clear corridor is made for you to exit And do I have... I think what I'll do is I will switch us over to space. And... Space, gotta go to space. So, the Carpathia is making its way out through the atmosphere now. And as it does, you notice a shape. The shape gets gradually bigger. The shape is actually humongous, and even though I'm showing it here in space, it's actually still in the atmosphere. But just to give you an impression as to the size of it compared to you guys, you pass by this enormous shape, which appears composed of tendrils, feelers that are kind of waving in the air, but there's a magnet, there's an actinic crackle that goes along a lot of these tendrils that seem to be not only allowing it to just float there in the atmosphere, but it also sends these electro pulses out through the atmosphere, which you are registering as electromagnetic pulses. This thing is controlling magnetic and electromagnetic fields naturally by itself on an incredible scale, almost planetary scale, and it creates a corridor for you to escape the atmosphere.
It's waving bye-bye to us. Aww.
Don't hit it.
So, back on the bridge. So, needless to say, when the that corridor is made to allow the runabout to escape the atmosphere, the Navis itself, everybody on the Navis gets a full in 4K definition view of that clear corridor. And at first, it's like, oh, there's the Carpathia, the away team's coming our way, but then they get a register of this enormous creature. So they pretty much everyone on board the Navis sees this creature illuminated in all its actinic glory.
Its noodly appendage.
Indeed. And so you are able to make it back to the ship in one piece, and boy, do you have a story to tell. So
We have our new Kirk.
It wasn't Shellyak.
Well, that's good to hear, Commander. I look forward to the full report.
Let's put some bridge ambience on.
Taking all his samples down to his fin on the sick bay fin to start studying them, see what he can learn for his own projects. Mwahaha.
Well, yes, you've encountered a silicon-based life form, a life form that appears to have some kind of hive structure, and are also telepathic, but only it seems when they make tactile contact. And they're able to manipulate electromagnetism to very impressive degrees. They're also able, apparently, to biologically engineer spacefaring organic ships, so... Reads up a fungus that eats the brains of ants, thinks of the Doctor. Well, yes, indeedy. So, Starfleet, the Federation, are going to ask for a recommendation as to what you think should happen in regards to this creature, this life form.
Limited contact.
Limited contact, you think?
Boy.
Yeah.
Mike?
Potential containment.
That'd be a bit harsh.
Mike, did you have something to say?
Oh no,
I would say to avoid it.
Avoid it.
Avoid.
It's exactly the same as oh god, which planet? The Genesis planet. Is a case of only for scientific, sort of like, only for scientific research, and it has to be an approved.
Yeah. I get you.
For scientific study, etc.
Captain, I would like to leave a probe and a subspace convoy here if we can. I think the Federation would like to know if another seed ship gets launched from this planet and which direction it went.
Yes, of course. Anyone else with any other thoughts they want to do after learning all of this? No? Nope. Go on.
I think, yeah, they will, like Navis has just suggested, is that there will be a probe left. There will also be I think if we also offer up information on carbon-based life forms so that it gets an understanding of planets that are already colonized.
Ah, okay.
And say, don't go and take them worlds because, you know, they're already inhabited by other creatures. And that is bad.
Redefine life for it.
Yes, so from what you gained, from the impression you gained, it had never met anything that wasn't unlike itself.
Yeah. So we're giving it that opportunity to understand that there are other life forms out there.
So yeah.
It would be interesting to pick its brain about other life forms like itself.
That's for the nerds to do, not us.
Nerd.
Yeah, we'll let the nerd ships come in. Yeah, like those intrepid
space
classes,
canoes.
one of them might come up at one point.
Alright, so you guys are going to leave behind like convoys and stuff like that, beacons to say, you know, don't come here.
Yeah.
And but also recommend that maybe some contact be made if they think it's beneficial, because, you know, new life form and all that. But advise caution. Okay. Not bad. So, I know technically we started this episode before spooky season started, but it's pretty cool that we basically got to finish it when spooky season had started, so yes. There we are. That brings us to the end of this episode. Are there more like them out there? Well, apparently there are. Where are they? How many planets have they seeded? What happens indeed when another seed ship gets constructed eventually on this planet?
Can we get it to go to Vulcan?
I mean, the Discovery plotline very interesting, wouldn't it? The Romulans and the fake Romulans have come back together. Yes, well, not anymore because the planet doesn't exist.
If you get rid of the Vulcans, someone else has to do all these dangerous suicidal science missions, and they moan louder.
And Vibers just doesn't want the extra paperwork. Well, in any case then, yeah, that's another episode finished. So well done, my dudes. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope everybody who tuned in to the stream enjoyed it as well. Apologies for missing, for the gap between this one and last one. Yeah, for those who were expecting last week's and didn't get it, I'm very sorry for that. But yes, I'd taken the flu vaccine, and it had knocked more out of me than I expected it did. So yes, I wouldn't have been at my best. So we postponed it to this week. However, next week is the 10th. Is everybody still around?
Should be.
Yeah, it is my birthday, but I guess I can play Star Trek.
That's up to you, my dude. Mike said the 17th he's not around.
That's right.
So I might give us a break on that day, perhaps. And I was also looking, of course, to do the Halloween episode in 4 weeks' time. I'm still working on it, getting to grips with Trail of Cthulhu, which we're going to use as the rule set. Trying to put together a spooky eldritch kind of story. We'll see how well I do, and how well we cope with Trail of Cthulhu rules. They're not too difficult.
Can we do it on the holodeck so that we are the Star Trek characters playing Cthulhu-based characters?
That was actually my plan.
Yay!
So yeah, that's the plan for Spooky. As such, any of you guys who do tune into the Sunday stream of the other ship, try not to, because they will be getting their spooky episode before you do, before these guys, the Navis, do. So the Combs will be getting their spooky episode on the Sunday the 29th, and the Navis will be getting their spooky episode on the 31st, the actual day of it. So you guys are special because you get the actual Halloween day.
Yeah, but you mentioned that dirty ship on our stream.
I didn't mention it by name. Come on.
You did. You did.
Did
the
I?
Combs
Okay.
crew will get it first, then
Never
the
mind.
Navis will get it.
You'll be talking about.
All right. My pardon.
I'm gonna-
I made an error. I'm
need
not
to
too big
wash,
to admit
I
it.
need to wash now.
Ruined.
It's fine. We're gonna get some new ships on board at some point. One's the Olympic, one's the White Star, and then everything balances out for you again.
Well, in any case, thanks for tuning in, folks. Basically, I hope you do what the Vulcans do, which is engage in infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Maybe don't rely on holodecks to satisfy your Ponfar urges, because we also have that went for poor Tuvok. Maybe don't do that. But in the meantime, I ask you all to live long and prosper, to all look after yourselves and treat each other well. And yeah, for the moment, let's hope spooky season is everything you hope it would be, but in a nice, entertaining way. Not in a I've just had a heart attack and I think I need to recover from it kind of way. So, yep. If you're watching this on YouTube and you enjoyed this, consider giving us a like, because it helps not only us but everyone else doing actual plays. We do bring out videos fairly regularly, but not always, so if you want to be notified, then, you know, hit the notification icon, because you never know. In the meantime, though, I want to thank my players, as per usual, for making this a very entertaining night. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you when we see you next. Hailing frequencies now closed.